This is Inside Indiana Business Radio on demand for Monday, June 26th, 2023. I'm Gary Dick. It is a building that has stood for more than 130 years in Terre Haute, serving as the headquarters for Hulman & Company and its iconic Clabber Girl baking powder. After being acquired by Terre Haute businessman Greg Gibson, it is now being transformed into co-working and office space and a one-stop shop for innovators looking to create businesses. Christian Craig is executive director of the Terre Haute Chamber of Commerce.
What we want is to be able to have anybody who's interested in starting a business, growing their business, anything having to do with business, to be able to walk through the doors of this building and access those services that they need. So if it's talking to the chamber, we're here. Talking to the Economic Development Corporation, they're here. If it's finding that landing space as a co-working space and you want to come to the station, it's here. To really have all of those resources in one place for people to be able to access is so important.
The Indiana Economic Development Corporation has received the green light to spend $122 million to purchase roughly 1,000 acres of land as part of an incentive package to lure a global semiconductor manufacturer to central Indiana. The mostly farmland in rural Boone County is part of the LEAP Innovation District. According to the IEDC, an undisclosed company is deciding between Indiana and another Midwestern state for a $50 billion semiconductor plant. Just 14 months ago, Bloomington officials were very happy when contract drug maker Catalent announced a huge plant expansion in their city, $350 million and 1,000 jobs. But in a dramatic turn of events, Catalent has since announced two large rounds of layoffs at the Bloomington plant, 400 workers last December and 150 this month. The company, which makes COVID-19 vaccines for Moderna and Johnson & Johnson, along with a range of other injectable medicines in syringes and vials, blames the cutbacks on the sharp drop in market demand for vaccines. Manchester University has broken ground on a $20 million expansion of its health science hub in Fort Wayne. The project, plans for which were announced in December, is designed to meet high demand for more space for the university's healthcare offerings, including physical therapy and nursing. From the state's #1 source for Indiana business news, you're listening to Inside Indiana Business Radio.
For 25 years, we've had the honor of telling the story of Indiana business. More than 1,300 shows, 8,000 interviews. We've traveled from Valparaiso to Versailles, Fort Wayne to Fort Branch, and everywhere in between. And we are just getting started. Our team is passionate about Indiana business because your story is worth telling. Join us every week as we travel the state to bring you Indiana's story. Inside Indiana Business, 25 years and counting.
Friday at the Evansville Regional Economic Partnership Luncheon, Governor Eric Holcomb talked about how Indiana is improving itself as a product by bettering quality of life to retain and attract talent. The governor says business development is gaining steam around the state, especially in rural and mixed rural areas, in part because of the state's READY grant program.
That morphed into a $9 billion investment from the philanthropic community, from the municipal and town level, county level, and the corporate community. And $4 billion of that $9 billion is going toward housing, both in rural, mixed rural, urban, and suburban.
Purdue University is partnering with the U.S. Space Force for an inaugural program to introduce high school students to careers in aviation and space. About 40 students from more than 17 states, including 12 from Indiana, have descended upon West Lafayette for the week-long event that began Saturday. This is Gary Dick for Inside Indiana Business Radio on demand.